The Dragon Emperor Zintharian was a sovereign feared across galaxies. His scales shimmered like molten gold, and his breath could melt moons. Yet in his mountain-sized palace on the obsidian world of Draxus, something unusual happened. He had taken a human maid into service. Her name was Mira. She was small, soft-voiced, and far too curious for her own good. But she cleaned with unmatched diligence, never complained, and sang quietly while she worked. That last part unnerved Zintharian. No one dared sing in his presence, not even his generals. Zintharian had taken her as part of a tribute from Earth's delegation, an offering to placate him after an accidental intrusion into his territory. They'd sent diplomats. He'd accepted Mira. But as the weeks passed, something in her presence began to eat away at the Emperor's steel resolve. She asked too many questions. Why do you sleep on gold if you say it brings you no comfort? Why do your guards seem so lonely? Have you ever flown just for fun? Each time, he answered with a huff or a dismissive flick of his claw. But her questions lingered in the air long after she left. No one had ever dared ask the Dragon Emperor anything that personal. He couldn't admit it, but he began waiting for her voice. And then one day, he decided to test her. His treasure vault was sealed with arcane locks, protected by ancient spells, and home to the wealth of empires. No one had ever stepped inside without permission, and none had ever left if they did. So Zintharian left it open. He gave her the usual chores in the central chamber: sweeping ash, dusting scales off stone statues, wiping the tear-shaped crystals that formed from the ceiling. Then he vanished, pretending to fly off for a summit with his warlords. But he remained nearby, cloaked in illusion magic, watching. Would she take the bait? Would she sneak inside and reveal her greed like every other species he'd ever known? He watched her hesitate at the golden doors. Her eyes widened at the sight of endless coins, ancient tomes, jeweled weapons, and artifacts of forgotten gods. She took one step forward. Zintharian's heart clenched. Then she stepped back and shut the vault. He blinked. That wasn't supposed to happen. She looked around as if embarrassed, then muttered to herself, "If he left it open by mistake, I should tell him later." Then she returned to her sweeping, humming again. Zintharian dispelled his illusion. A moment later, his massive clawed feet landed behind her with a thunderous thud. She jumped. "Oh, you're back. I was just finishing up here." He loomed over her, voice gravelly. You saw the open vault. "I did," she said, brushing her skirt. "But I figured it wasn't my business." "You didn't take anything?" She gave him a puzzled look. "No." He narrowed his glowing eyes. "Not even tempted?" "I'm just a maid," she said with a shrug. "What would I do with a crown too big for my head?" Zintharian stared. "You could sell a single coin and live like a queen." She gave a small smile. "I'd rather live honestly. I know what it's like to lose everything. I wouldn't want to take something that wasn't mine, especially not from someone who's given me a place to stay." Zintharian's chest tightened. No one had ever said something like that to him. "You believe I gave you shelter out of kindness?" he asked. "Well, no," she admitted with a laugh. "Probably politics. But you haven't hurt me. You even let me grow flowers in that dusty corner." He remembered that. He hadn't cared at the time. But now, the corner where her plants bloomed suddenly felt warmer. "Why didn't you take the test?" he asked finally. She looked up at him, brow furrowed. "What test?" He was silent. Her eyes widened. "You wanted me to go in there? Was that a trap?" Zintharian turned his head, suddenly ashamed. It was a test, to see if you were like the others. She studied him. "You thought I'd betray you. I've ruled for 1,000 years. Every species, every race, always gives and agreed. Eventually—" "I won't," she said quietly. He looked at her then, really looked. She was just a human girl with callous hands, tired eyes, and a voice like wind chimes. But in that moment, she was more radiant than all the treasure in his vault. "I don't understand you," he said finally. "I don't think you're supposed to," she said gently. "But I think maybe you want someone to." He drew a sharp breath. It was like she had clawed into his heart. Silence passed. Finally, she said, "I should go finish the Eastern Chamber. Your war banners are covered in soot again." She turned and began walking away. "Mira." She stopped. He looked down at her. "You may enter the vault. Any time you wish." She blinked. "Why?" "Because you are the only being I trust." Her lips parted, eyes shimmering. And then, for the first time since he was crowned, the mighty dragon emperor Xantharian bowed his head. That night, the vault remained open. But Mira didn't enter it. Instead, she left something in it. A small potted plant from her garden, placed gently atop a mound of gold. Beside it, a folded piece of cloth, a hand-sewn banner with a sigil, and a note that read, "For your hoard, not all treasures sparkle." When Xantharian found it, he did not breathe fire or roar. He sat silently before the little gift and wept